Hi everyone, today I'm talking about buying a new stock which is called GW Pharmaceuticals, and I'll be talking you through why I bought this company today, why I really like it. I am going to say, well, two things really before I get into the video. Like, I never normally buy pharmaceutical companies. It's an area that I don't touch. And the reason why is just because there's a lot of risk there, and the risk comes from phase 3. You'll probably see this with a lot of the coronavirus kind of vaccines that are going on and trying to get them through phase 3. Basically, you know, some of these stocks can get built up on a lot of hype of something that's going to come through, some sort of medical drug, and basically it gets to phase 3 and they put 2 years into this and then it fails phase 3 and then everything completely crashes, and you know, the company kind of had so much put into this and it falls apart. So I don't normally kind of get into these companies because they move so much depending on what happens with a lot of these tests that go on. So I had to have a good reason to invest in this one, so I'll cover it from that point of view because I normally don't get into this sort of industry. Second of all, I have been talking a lot about right now is a great opportunity to start building up that cash pile in case we have another pullback, and I'm still doing that. I'm not buying stocks heavy. This was only a small position that I bought into this company. I'm still building up that cash pile in case there's another pullback at some point. But with this opportunity here and it being a bit more of a growth stock, I did nibble into this position, but my priority is still building up this cash pile. But anyways, I'll get into the reasons why I did buy this stock and some of the risks that do come with this stock. But as always, smash that like button, guys, and we'll get into it. So this stock actually came through a podcast that I listened to, which is called Invest Talk. Some of you guys I know listen to this podcast. I like him. It's a good little podcast that I listened to, and I was literally making like a cup of tea while making this, thinking how overvalued this stock market was. And I was listening to this podcast, and the guys on the show are very safe, so they don't like a lot of risky stocks. So this stock isn't for them, and I knew that it wasn't going to be for them when I looked into it, just because of the risk that comes with this. But someone mentioned about this company that phoned in and said it's a stock that's growing up 300%. And I was like, wow, that's a lot. And they said, oh, they're just making profit and also they're on a discount. And I was like, wow, this company actually sounds like amazing. Obviously, the people on the show were like, oh, it's it's not making a lot of profit just yet, so it's not a one to buy. But I was like, whoa, this sounds like my kind of stock. So I thought I'd have a look into this. So I got the stock chart up and I looked, and the ticker symbol for this one was GWPH. I saw that it's an ADR, which basically means it's a foreign company listed on the US stock exchange. So when looking into the company, I realised it was a UK company, so it's not that much foreign to me really, because obviously I'm from the UK, but it was an ADR because it's on the US stock exchange. I bought in at $128.50, which is currently around about that still right now, so it hasn't moved that much. I saw that it was on a 30% discount, and it's kind of been stuck in a range recently. So I've seen that it's, you know, struggling to kind of break out from this range. So it's been kind of stuck in this range, which means that even though it's increasing its profit and revenue, it's kind of not moved off it. So I thought that's a good sign as well. Now, I saw that it was at a P of 119, and the reason why is it's just started making profit. So that P should come down, but it is starting to make profit, which is good. But it does kind of show you that it is quite an expensive company. I also saw that the price to sale ratio was 16, which is obviously very expensive. A price to sales ratio should be a lot lower than that. So 16, I saw that I was paying a bit of a premium for this stock, so it had to offer me a lot of potential for me to go buy, which I did buy. So I'll show you all that now. So I looked at Simply Wall Street. It said it was 76% undervalued, but I don't think this graph was completely right that I saw. I looked into the growth because obviously I heard about the massive growth that it had, and I looked and I saw some fantastic numbers. I saw revenue growth of 519 million in 2020 that jumped to 18 and 15 million, and then it jumped to 1 billion in 2022, then 1.2 billion the next year, and then in 2024 1.5 billion. I also looked at the profit and I was like, oh, so it's not going to make profit this year, even though potentially I'll get onto that in a little bit. But basically there was good Q1 earnings. Q2 earnings look like they're sandbagging as well, so I think they can beat these Q2 earnings. But profit wasn't going to be profitable this year, but then 115 million, then 302 million, 496 million, and 651 million. So some great profit growth as well. So I really like the potential from the profit. I looked into the balance sheet. Balance sheet was great. They had 500 million cash, 9 million debt. So the balance sheet was fantastic as well. So I thought, well, this PE is going to come down eventually. That price to sale will drop down. And I thought this company is, it's on a bit of a discount. It's offering me some good growth here right now. I thought this balance sheet is fantastic. So let's have a look into what this company is doing. What's the potential with this company? Now I am going to go through a lot of the potential with a lot of the drugs that will be coming out. But I am going to say some of these names are very difficult to say, and I am going to look like a right idiot saying some of them, but I am going to try my best. So try not to laugh at me too much. So basically this company has a drug, and this drug is called Epidiolex, and basically this is a cannabis drug. So we know the kind of like resistance to using cannabis drugs, but they're kind of getting a little bit more accepted now. And this drug was actually approved by the US, and it was to treat seizures. Now these seizures come with syndromes that are called Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, and also a syndrome that's called Dravet syndrome. So this drug basically stops the seizures that happen with these syndromes. Now to add to this drug actually in September 2019 got approved by the EU, and this is the first and only cannabis drug that helps these seizures approved. And this is just starting to get launched right now. So they basically, the start of this year, they've basically gone out and they've started marketing it to a lot of the EU countries, the biggest ones, and they're seeing how successful that's going to be and expand to the other European countries as the year goes on. So for example, they've just managed to sort out the deal with the NHS, and it's going to get supplied in the UK and other countries like Germany. So this is why the revenue and profits going to explode this year, because of this approval in the EU. Now this drug Epidiolex is also being evaluated for tuberculosis sclerosis complex, which affects 40,000 people to 80,000 people in the US and 2 million people worldwide. There is currently no successful treatment for this, so this will be a massive game changer for people that do suffer from that. And this is currently in phase 3. I've also seen the results, and the results are pretty good, and the approval is set for July if it all goes through. So obviously this drug is also going to open up to more customers in 2021 if successful by the time they're able to ramp it up. This company also manufactures and produces this drug, which is why they've got so good profit margins as well, which is fantastic. But I think, I talk about phase 3, and this is the risky thing with pharmaceuticals, and the amount of, I think it's like 90% fail through phase 3. But this drug is approved, it's just produced some good results. So I think that it's going to get past phase 3, and then that opens this drug up to another 40,000 to 80,000 customers in the US, and then obviously it could go worldwide as well. So I think this is going to be a great growth for this company in 2021 as well. And also in the long run as well, there's another drug called Sativex, which is approved in 25 countries outside of the US. That's also in phase 3 for the US, and that could potentially open that drug up to another 2.3 million in the US as well. So that's another drug that is in phase 3 approval, and that could get approved, and that could be something else in 2021 as well. So this company is doing really well with some diverse revenue as well. It's also working in a few more drugs that we're talking 5 to 10 years down the pipeline. They're kind of in early phase testing as well, but there's a lot of patents on them as well, which is great. So there's some other drugs down the line in the next 3 to 5 years that we'll find out about as well. So it's got 2 drugs that are going to potentially explode over the next few years, and it's also working on some more things in the long term as well. So that's why I got into GW Pharmaceuticals. I think that drug, or the 2 drugs that they're working on, I think they should get through approval in phase 3, and that should really where we should see that explosion of that revenue and profit come from. Obviously there's the risk because it is an expensive stock and it's trading at a high valuation, and obviously being a pharmaceutical company as well. But for me, I looked at this and I was like, I think it's going to get through phase 3, so I think the reward should be okay. And I think, there is some risk here, but the reward for me is that I reckon that in 2 to 5 years, I'm hoping to make 100% profit really on this company by investing into it. So I took a little bit of a nibble into this one, and obviously it's not been a big position because of the risk and it being a bit more of a spec play, so I didn't buy loads of shares, but I thought it was a cool little play to put in my portfolio that I think might do really well. And obviously I don't have a pharmaceutical company. I'm not classing J&J as a pharmaceutical company, but I don't have a pharmaceutical company in my portfolio, so I think it diversifies it a little bit as well. So yeah, I thought it was a good little pickup, so I thought I'd update you with that one. I'll also let you know as well, I did sell my shares in Barclays I made a 45% profit on that one. I won't make a video about it, but I thought I'd let you know as well about that one. So yeah, that's me talking about this stock today, guys. And as always, if you can smash the like button, that'd be absolutely amazing. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you on the next video.